Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new year. This is the first meeting of our SIG Docs localization subproject meeting for 2025. Today is January 6th. And so just a reminder to everybody joining or listening in that this is a CNCF meeting, and we prescribe by the code of conduct for that group, meaning to please be kind and respectful to everyone as we go through our agenda and as we interact with everyone verbally or in the chat. And let me share a link to our meeting agenda. And then I can share my screen as well, so we can kind of start stepping through that. Okay, and I'll share my screen. Okay, so yeah, so first up on our agenda is the annual update of our owners' aliases. So every year, for the past few years, SIG Docs has gone through and just checked in with the reviewers and approvers who are listed throughout the repo. And these are people who have permissions to review and approve and merge PRs. And this is an effort to make sure that the list that we have is most up to date. And how this might impact localizations is that the test is to see how many contributions different people have made throughout the past year. And if you have made a lower number of contributions, specifically through reviewing or contributing PRs, you'll get flagged. And we just wanted to check in. So if this is, if you do get a ping about this list, or you wanted to check if you're on this list, it doesn't mean that you will be removed. We ask that you please add a comment here about your planned participation for this upcoming year. And we can work with you to make sure that you aren't removed at all. This is really just so we know people who might need help, and from the perspective of localizations that might need help or might need help getting more contributions made into the localization. So again, if you were pinged on this list in this issue created by Divya, please reach out in a comment. It doesn't mean that you'll be, it doesn't mean anything other than we just want to check in and see how you are doing, and if you're still willing and able to participate in an upcoming year. So please make sure if you're pinged there. I will say this is a good time for the different localization teams to check in and reach out if you are experiencing an issue, either you're personally contributing or if you have noticed a drop off in contributions to your localization. In general, please reach out and highlight that, and we can kind of try to help strategize ways to get more contributors into your project. So for that, if you can please respond by February 2nd to that PR so that we can move forward with our process there. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us in the PR or in the SIG Docs localizations channel. And Soko, I'm not sure if you had any other points you wanted to raise about that, the cleanup activity that we're doing.
Yeah, sure. Just for the recording, I mean, as Korean localization team maintainer, there are some Korean localization reviewers and approvers are listed in the this annual removal activity. But in case of Korean localization, we have very few, very talented review contributors. So I asked to Divya in that comment, in the PR, I commented that Korean localization team need to be remained as it is based on the discussions from the Korean localization team members. It is because Korean localization team will have some extensive revisions in localization contents, and even though their activity in previous year was not active, but we still think they are very helpful in soon. So it is comment as Korean localization maintainers.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's just, I just wanted to reiterate that is an excellent point, and there are very valid reasons why people have not been able to contribute, because they have a lot of external non-Kubernetes related things that they're working on, and that is something we completely understand. And like, again, part of these exercises is to just check in with folks and kind of see where they are. So I think that your reasoning is valid to keep people on your list of reviewers, so that you can continue to make progress in the new year. Yeah, so I think that that's completely valid, and thank you for raising that, because I think there's a lot of people who have that happen of, going on with throughout the year.
yeah. Also, regarding this updating activity, SIGDocs lead mentioned that some reviewers and approvers uh, uh, repeating this low activity for several years. So we started to discuss how to handle those contributors, even though they are intended to be remained. If their activities keep low for several years, maybe we need to uh, somehow discuss or uh, reason why identify reason why they should be remained.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just the discussion just started, so I'm not sure what will be the outcome of the discussion yet.
Yeah, we have a lot of another good point. We have a lot of folks who want to join back in, but then have reasons why they can't. And then it's sort of a continual multi-year thing where they really do want to contribute and join back in, but might have reasons not. So what to do in that case is sort of an open question. So if you have thoughts in the community, we are open to hearing what you think would be the best thing to do, because we want to make sure that people have a way to come back into the community, and that we're not cutting off localizations who have or who are wanting to contribute by removing approvers and reviewers from specific teams. So again, if you have thoughts on this issue, or you were specifically pinged within Divya's PR, please reach out by February 2nd. And we'll probably try to post some reminders too as well in the Slack channels, to try to raise awareness that this is happening, if you are not seeing this recording, our lovely meeting that's happening. Yeah, so with that, I think we can move on to our next topic, which we have a contributor Koti, who is looking to start up the new localization effort for Telugu language, which I'm
Telugu,
not sure. What was it? I'm not sure. I'm terrible at pronouncing things, so I'm like the worst.
yeah, Telugu, and I think it
Telugu.
is
Okay.
language in India area.
Okay, cool.
So
All right.
in last meeting, Koti showed up in this monthly meeting and showed interest in uh, initiating Telugu language localization. So it is just to share it again, whether there are uh, tentative contributors who are interested in the new localization initiative. So if the uh, if there are new contributors who are interested in that uh, initiation, then maybe you can call Koti or Abi or me, who are the localization subproject called. So yeah, just DM or use localization channel to show your interest.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
always
for me.
exciting to see people who are looking to start a new localization effort. Um, and it's always best. We always recommend that folks have at least 2 or 3 people to help them, like a group of 2 or 3, to kind of kick off localization efforts because there are lots of steps, and it's best to work with a group of people who can help with reviewing and approving and sort of picking up things if you have to step away for a bit. So if you are interested in contributing to this new language or to any of our other languages, please reach out. Or if you're looking to start a separate new language initiative, yes, definitely reach out. And then linked in the docs here or in the agenda is our how to start a new localization information. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please take a look at that link. And I think we could probably move on to our last issue, which actually has lots of bullet points here. And this is about testing, adding in translation management tooling for helping localization teams to do localizations in a different way than how it is done right now. So we do have an issue about doing testing. So this is something before it gets added, we'd have to do a lot of testing to make sure it sort of fits the right use case and will be effective and sort of what sort of things we'd have to figure out before we actually decide to adopt it. So we have this issue about performing testing and getting volunteers to do it. It's just in a place where we don't have someone to really have who has the time to dedicate to sort of running the whole testing plan. So if this is something you're interested in, please reach out if you'd like to help do that. We have a lot of, I know Soko, you have a lot of thoughts, which are some of the bullet points here. But right now where it stands is that we are looking for people, still looking for people who are able to help run doing the testing. And I know I have Soko, if you want to kind of share some of your thoughts as well.
Yeah, sure. Regarding this issue, I already shared my idea, thought in previous meetings. So actually, those bullet items are the opinion from previous meetings. So I just put to them to give more context who just saw this uh, meeting agenda, and I I'm not I still think I'm not sure this activity can uh, continue because the issue aimed to form a POC team. It's very nice initiative, but still there's no significant progress or actions. So I'm not sure how to handle that issue. My I have my thought, but I'm not sure I can just decide how to handle that issue. So some folks uh, may be disappointed on uh, those activities. So maybe we need to find the next step for that issue.
Yeah, it's in a bit of kind of a limbo state, which I will admit I am pretty partially responsible for because I was the person who was coordinating a lot of the testing efforts. But to drive forward the testing, there's actually a lot of a pretty big team of people that we were asking to help volunteer to do the testing because there's lots of different use cases that we need to understand in each localization and each type of language would need to kind of be tested so that we know that it works for different scenarios before we go forward with adoption. So to do that, we need to have someone kind of help coordinate. And that's kind of where our kind of blocker is that we don't have one or a small group of people who have the time to dedicate coordinating the testing efforts. So if that sounds like something you're really interested in, please chime in the SIG Docs channel or in the testing issue. But I think that's sort of what the biggest blocker has been. There's been folks who have been willing to do the testing to see how it would look for their language and to see what integration would look like within SIG Docs, because there are potential permission issues or CLA issues, or just how the tool would interact, because it is a different way to do localizations than how we currently do localization. So, the pros and cons of adding it in, and different teams were really excited about it, and certain other teams were not as enthusiastic. So we as SIG Docs, we're not here to mandate people use tools. So it was just, but we also don't want to block people from using tools if certain teams want to use them. So our stance, I believe, if I'm stating it correctly, was giving people the opportunity to do the testing to see if it worked out to implement it, to use it. But we're not sure if it is feasible or I guess worth the investment of time, because there would be a lot of management for the different tools and the connecting pieces that we'd have to take ownership of. So that was what the point of the testing was, to see how useful it would be for the different teams who are interested in using it, and then what the actual lift would be to implement and maintain it. But again, we are missing sort of that coordination layer to help do the testing. And I'm not sure what the best way to go about finding that is. So that's sort of, I guess, where we are. Maybe I don't know if it's worth bringing up to the SIG Docs meeting again and see what they sort of say. I'm not sure how many of the broader SIG Docs folks had time to help with this issue more than just sort of giving their opinions, because it is kind of a big lift to help do the testing. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at. I don't have a good solution. I wish I had infinite amount of hours to help more here, because I know that there was a lot of interest in getting this up and running. But that's sort of, I guess, where we're at, is that we just need people to help do, if we wanted to continue, it would be helping get with coordinators to do the testing and have a little more experience in how these tools would kind of implement into the repo. So I guess that's sort of where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think it is not related with the different languages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't have to bring each localization team members, because we are not looking for the translation tool. It is looking for translation, localization platform, right? To automate the localization progress, not the automatically translating something. So maybe we just need some technicians to test this kind of translation platforms tools. Also, as I mentioned before, the OpenStack community utilize only open source the tools. Even though they use some translation platforms, they only select the open source. So I think they also have some point using the open source only. But they also facing some issues providing these translation platforms in their localization as well. So they are also looking for another way. So it
Okay.
is very hard problem.
Yeah, it's definitely not as straightforward as I think some folks think it is or want it to be. So, but that's an interesting point to see, like you mentioned, other open source communities and what they're sort of doing. I think that might be a possible avenue, is to kind of check out what other tools folks are using and how they've integrated it, as just like a next thinking about the problem step, if we did want to continue, or if other folks are interested, we can figure out ways to connect in with other communities, because Kubernetes is a large community, but we are not the first open source community. So other folks are probably doing localization somewhere in open source and in some way. So they might have some answers or ideas on how to do this. But yeah, again, I think for next steps, it's probably on me to actually update the issue of the most current status of what's going on with that issue, and then maybe putting it on the agenda item for SIG docs, so they can kind of know what's happening there, because that was a big discussion that we had in a couple of SIG docs meetings as well. So yeah, next steps, I'll update the issue and then put it on the agenda for the SIG docs meeting. I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend, but I'll make sure it at least gets on the agenda to be brought up there. And if you are listening to this recording, or you have thoughts about this topic, please, please, please reach out on the issue or in the localization channel, because we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have people work on this or have thoughts about this, and participate in the community. So yeah, so that's sort of, I think, all we have on that. Do you have anything else you want to add, Soko, to the agenda, or to talk about? Trying to think of.
For me, yes, sir.
That's it. Okay. Cool. So I guess that's been a meeting. I'll stop our sharing. So that's been all our whole agenda. I'm looking forward to a great 2025. Yeah, I don't have anything else for today. So thank you all for listening, and I'll stop the recording.